From the banks of the Allegheny, welcome to Film Bits. All right, a dirty dozen. This is number 12. When last we left, Carla Jean and Ed Tom were having a discussion at a diner. Let's jump right the heck back in and go back to Mexico. Interesting shot of the clouds and the fence, and oh, there we are. Carson Wells. It's kind of meandering along. Interesting long shot there. I really like that shot. Similar to, of course, what we saw Moss do. Rio Grande River. Carson being shot through that chain link fence rather than cleanly on the other side. Now again, this is one of those moments where if you had music, it might build up to this reveal right there. What is that he saw? Let's do a closer look of it. Camera closes in. Oh, it's a money satchel. The lack of music, to me, is more rewarding. Now Carson's going back to the Eagle Hotel, which is the same place that Moss and Chigurh had their shootout. Oh, yes. And Carson knows.
Hello, Carson. Let's go to your room.
Okay. So Chigurh, who had just committed a crime in that hotel the day before, so it's actually still a crime scene, Waltz is back in there, waits for Wells, and has him. So he knows all about Wells being a part of this. How he learned it, we don't know. He's just that good, though. And now we have one of my favorite scenes in the film, this one-on-one face-off between Chigurh and the man hired to get Chigurh, Carson Wells. And you can tell by Carson's expression right when he sits down, some of that air might have been let out of his balloon.
You don't have to do this. I'm a day trader. I could just go home.
Quite a bit different than he's a psychopathic killer, but still, what? There's plenty of those. So how Wells was in that office building with the guy that hires him, and how Wells is with this silenced shotgun facing him. Two completely different individuals. Anton smiles. You don't see that often.
I know where the satchel is.
If you knew, you would have it with you.
I could find it from the riverbank. I know where it is.
I know something better.
What's that?
I know what it's going to be.
Where's that?
It will be brought to me and placed at my feet.
So we see something here. Anton is actually smiling, or repressing smiling. He's enjoying this. He knows he's in command. He knows that Wells is ostensibly a peer or of similar talent and caliber.
We don't know too certain.
And he's got him. He's got him dead to rights. And he's
I do know
playing with him just like
what's gonna
he
happen
played
now,
with
Carson.
the gas station owner.
You should admit your situation. There will be more dignity in it.
Okay, that's a big line. You should admit your situation. There would be more dignity in it. So this goes back to Chigurh's code. Basically, what Chigurh is saying is, you know you're going to die. Man up. You and I are pretty similar. If I were sitting in the chair you're sitting in right now, I wouldn't be blubbering and whining like a baby. Be dignified. You're going to die. Accept it. Be a man.
You go to hell.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me ask you something. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule?
Okay, one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule? Which I interpret as Chigurh lording his superiority. He starts the first half of that quote with a smile, and then he ends with a very stern look, basically saying, you think you're smart, you think you're better, You think you were going to get me. But look at what happened. I'm sitting here with the gun. You're sitting there about to die. So with these two guys who, again, are arguably equal, Chigurh has the upper hand. And he wants Carson to admit it, and he wants Carson to think about, on his deathbed, if you will, how many mistakes he's made in his life. If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use is the rule? Nothing. Your life is nothing. It's brought you to here, and now you're going to die because you didn't lead it the right way. You made bad decisions, like trying to come find me.
Do you have any idea how crazy you are?
You mean the nature of this conversation?
I mean the nature of you. You could have the money, Anton.
Ooh, and that's a jump. Because it's been so quiet, so still. No non-diegetic sound, no music. Come out to the wide on Anton here for a reason. And there goes Carson Wells. Chigurh in no hurry to answer this phone.
Hello?
Yes.
Is, Carson Wells there?
Not in the sense that you mean.
Okay, that's a great line. Not in the sense that you mean. Oh yeah, he's here, but he can't talk. Now watch how Moss is shot during this sequence. We will always be dead on direct face with Chigurh as they do this cutting back and forth between the two. But this freeze frame where I have it on right now, that's a profile. We are never going to get a full-faced shot of Moss. We will only get him at profile, and most of the time we'll only be shooting at the back of his head. We'll talk about what that might say.
You know who it is. You need to talk to me.
I don't need to talk to you.
I think you do. Do you know where I'm going?
Why would I care where you're going?
I know where you are.
Yeah, where am I?
You're in the hospital across the river, but that's not where I'm going. Do you know where I'm going?
Great shot. Boots and lift.
All right.
You know she won't be there.
It doesn't make any difference where she is.
So what are you going up there for?
You know how this is gonna turn out, don't you?
Nope.
Okay, a couple of things. Chigurh tells him he knows where he is, and he knows he's wounded, but Chigurh is not going to get Moss. So he basically tells Moss, you're not worth it. I'm not coming to kill you. But your wife, think about that, Moss. And just like with Carson, he says to Moss, you know how this is going to end, don't you? Chigurh cannot see Moss being an equal match to him. Chigurh already put Moss in the hospital. And for Chigurh, it's just kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. It's not a matter of if, but when.
I think you do. So this is what I'll offer. You bring me the money,
and that's a great delivery there too. There's no
Otherwise, she's a
oomph to Moss's nope. When Chigurh says, you know how this is going to end, don't you?
That's the best deal
Nope.
you're gonna
There's
get.
just a little bit of doubt
You
there.
can save yourself.
Even though Moss doesn't want to give in, he probably is thinking, this guy might have me.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you something, all right? Decided to make you a special project of mine. You ain't gonna have to come look for me at all.
And then he looks over at
The motel.
Carson's body.
Yes, sir. None of the three had ID on them.
Very
The
important
gentleman
scene here with
was
Ed,
Mexicans.
Tom, and
Was
Wendell.
Mexicans.
There's a question. Whether they stopped being. And when.
Yes, sir.
Now, Wendell, did you inquire about the lock cylinder?
Yes, sir. It was punched out.
Okay.
You want to drive out there?
No, that's all I'd have looked for, and it sounded like these old boys died of natural causes.
So he's talking about the Mexicans that were dead at the Del Rio Hotel. You want to drive out there, Wendell says? Ed
It's
Tom
just
says,
all right, boy. I
not
can't
so
think of
much.
Any other word for it? Who are these people? Here last week, they found this couple out in California. They rent out rooms to old people, kill them, bury them in the yard, cash their Social Security checks. Well, they'd torture them first. I don't know why. Maybe the television set was broke. And this went on until, here I quote, neighbors were alerted when a man ran from the premises wearing only a dog collar. I don't know why. Maybe the television set was broke. And this went on until, here I quote, neighbors were alerted when a man ran from the premises wearing only a dog collar. You can't make up such a thing as that. How dare you to even try? But that's what it took, you notice. Get somebody's attention. Digging graves in the backyard didn't bring any. Oh, that's all right. I laugh myself sometimes. Ain't a whole lot else you can do.
So he shares this anecdote about people in California who are being tortured and robbed of their money and buried in the yard, and no one is noticing. And he can't understand, why isn't anyone noticing? It takes a guy running naked out of the house with a dog collar on until anyone notices. Ed doesn't get it. He can't fathom it. Who are these people? And Wendell's just sitting there like going, what is going on here? Why is he telling me this? And then Wendell just has to laugh because he doesn't know what else to do. He doesn't know how to respond to all this. Ed's just kind of going off on his own tangent, and Wendell is there. And Ed ends it by saying, well, that's okay. Sometimes the only thing you can do is laugh. So nowhere have we seen thus far Ed Tom look like an old man more, both physically in his costuming and props, and back to his ideology of not wanting to risk his life for something he flat out doesn't understand. All right, 12 in the books. Unlucky 13 is going to be lucky for us. I can feel it. I want to thank you if you spent some time with me today. Take care. I'll be back in a few days with the next installment. Bye-bye.